Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to make a 3D Tardis. Now we don't have the top where it's all different levels. It literally is Tardis. Okay, all the sides are the same, 1, 2 and 3, except for this fourth one. The only difference is we have these extra bands here. All the others just have the 2 white one. It's very basic. It's very difficult to put a lot of detail, and obviously the Doctor's TARDIS has a lot of detail, but this is just your basic little TARDIS. If you choose to put more detail in, that's fantastic. We're going to use a single loom, and the things you're going to need are about a whole packet of 600 blue bands. You're going to need a couple of white bands. I'm using 3 white bands for each of these, so 3, 6, 9, 12, blah blah blah, and I'm using 3 black bands here. So there's 3 black bands, 3 black bands, 3 black bands. Okay, you're also going to need either some stuffing, some toy stuffing, or I've just used cotton wool. I didn't have any stuffing, so I just used nail varnish remover cotton wool. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now I have already prepared 2 of the sides, and I will show you how to do 2 of the sides, and then we stitch it all up together. You're going to be using a single loom. It's going to be in the standard configuration, which means all the columns are the same height. The arrow is facing towards you, or the open part of the peg is facing towards you, and we are going to be double banding. You're going to need your hook with your base removal tool, because we're doing 5 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to do the move it forward technique. We're going to put 2 bands here as our lead, and then we will place 2 and 2. Now our second row is going to all be blue, and you're going to be making, as I said, 4 of these, but 1 will have the extra white. We're going to do a pair of blue here. Now these next ones are going to be black. To make them stand out just a little bit, I'm using 3 instead of 2 bands. So 3 black bands and 3 black bands. Then we go back to 2 blues. Now the trickiest part of this is actually sewing it all up, so that's the bit that will take you time. Now after we've done blue, black, blue, we're doing 3 white, and then we have a pair of blue next to them, and when we move forward, that's where we do the other white. So now we have a row of blue, and you can see this is almost like doing a mural. Okay, 2 blue. This is where for the front door we do 3 more white, and then 2 blue, 2 blue, and we do blue all the way to the bottom of our loom on both, or all 3 columns. As I said, I didn't count exactly how many blue bands I needed, but I had a new packet of blue and I used nearly all of them. These are the Rainbow Loom Navy, the Rainbow Loom White and the Rainbow Loom Black. Now we're going to need 2 lead bands to place here on the end to go across. We're going to take 2 to go from the centre to the right, and then 2 to go from the centre to the left, and we're going to need crossover bands to go across these pegs. Now, because we're only doing 5 columns, we will only need to use 1 set of crossover bands. We just stretch these across to the other 2 columns. Okay, so there is a crossover band on each of those. Now we're going to put an end cap just on this little one here at the bottom left, which is a single band, blue, wrap it once and twice and pop that on the end here. Dig down, and we're doing these bottom ones first, so loop across and loop across. You've still got those sitting there nicely. Now we're going to loop up just the first 2 columns. I'm doing the middle one first. Dig down here. Okay, so now this top one we loop up and across. That locks it into place. Okay, then we can take this first column off our loom. Do it gently. I use the back of my hook to help me get that off, but you must protect that middle column. You do not want anything coming off this middle column. Okay, turn your loom over, and we're going to move our base plates forward 1 position like that. Just the bottom ones. You leave the big one that's holding all 3 columns just where it is. Okay, then you can take this empty column that we're not using and move it forward. We need to have another column after this, so we're still going to use lead bands for that next column, but we'll put these lead bands over like that. And now we will lay our bands. We start with a pair of blue and then 3 black, a pair of blue and 3 white, and then blue all the way to the bottom. We're going to have 2 lead bands on this particular peg here, and we will drag these 2 over like that. Now, move the cat hair out of the way, drag these bands, these crossover bands over. And we can dig down, find those 2 bands that loop to the side, and then loop up this center column. Dig down. I tend to pull them up and then across. It just feels easier. Protect this, so I tend to put my finger there and then release the hounds, release this first column. Make sure that none of these bands are popping off the center column, okay? Push everything down. Okay, let's move our big base plate, only the big one this time. Move it forward so that you have room to move this, which is now empty, across. And the other thing you're making sure is that you're always keeping them the same level. We don't need an extra lead band on there now because this is our last column. Now it's just blue bands going down here, okay? Just blue. And it's double banding. Drag these two across. Now we're dragging the crossover bands across. And we loop up both sides now, so dig down on the top two and loop to the side, and now we can loop up both of these columns. Dig down, find those bottom two and loop across. Same here, and loop across. Let's grab two tie-off bands, dig our hook down past all the bands, put our hook through the bands and pull them back through to the back side of that peg. Reclaim the end of your bands and take the two closest up, over and off. And we can take this off the loom. So now I'm going to show you how to basically do the next one, which is just with the two. It's exactly the same, except you don't put those extra white bands on. So again, lead bands and a pair and a pair. You're going to go down with blue for that first row. Oops. You have blue here. We're going to have 3 black here and 3 black here, and then a row of blue, blue, oops, 3 white and a pair of blue, and then it's blue all the way to the end. Sorry, that one's just a bit twisted, let's untwist it. Blue all the way to the end, whereas with our first one we had another set of white bands here. Oops. Oopsie. There we go. Have a pair of lead bands here, like that, and 2 from the center to the right, and 2 from the center to the left. Stretch our crossover bands over, which is a single band that you stretch over the entire row. Now we're going to put a single here as an end cap. So take a single band, wrap it once and twice, and pop that on the end here. Dig down, we're finding 2 bands, loop to the side. Again, dig down, find the 2 top bands, loop to the side. Leave these ones for the next column. We're looping up the 2 first columns, so the first and second, the left and the center column. When you get up to the top here, you want to loop the center one before the left, because now when we dig down here and grab those 2 bottom blue, they sit on top and it just looks nice. Take this first column off your loom. Turn your loom around. We're going to move those mini base plates forward 1 spot. Take that column of pegs off and move forward. Make sure that you are in line, okay? You don't want to be not in line. We need 2 lead bands to go to our final column. These 2 that were sitting here on the center move across and we lay our bands. We start with 2 blue, 3 black, 2 blue, 3 white. Okay. And then we do blue all the way to the bottom of the loom. So you'll all have to tell me, you all have to pipe in, who is your favourite Doctor? I have to say mine is Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant. But I'm quite liking this new Doctor. We've only seen, I know, the 1 episode, but he seems quite nice. I'm not a huge Matt Smith fan. I know a lot of you might be. Drag these 2 over, let's drag our crossover bands over like this. Oh, you know what we forgot to do? Lead bands. Let's put some lead bands on here. Okay, so what we're going to do is before we drag that over, let's put those ones there and then put these ones on top like that. We'll secure those into place by looping that over like that. Okay, now we're just going to loop up this center column. Get these out of the way. Just the center, not the right hand side one yet. Who are your favourite companions? I love Rose and I love Donna. I thought Donna was hilarious. Push everything down. Turn over. Use your base plate, move it forward, one spot, just the big one, not the minis, and take this column of pegs and move it forward. Drag your lead bands over. Now it's just blue bands going down here, okay? Just blue. And it's double banding. Drag these two across. Now we're dragging the crossover bands across. And we loop up both sides now, so dig down on the top two and loop to the side, and now we can loop up both of these columns. Dig down, find those bottom two and loop across. Same here, and loop across. Let's grab two tie-off bands, dig our hook down past all the bands, put our hook through the bands and pull them back through to the back side of that peg. Reclaim the end of your bands and take the two closest up, over and off. And we can take this off the loom. And we won't need our loom anymore. So let's move that out the way. So now the trick that we have all of these here is to sew them all together. This is the front door. We're going to have all the tie-off bands on the right, okay? So let's take two, make sure that they're all on the right, and we flip it like this, okay? Now, as you can see, we have these little loops either side. We are going for the inside loops on both of them. Those two, those are the ones that we're going to be tying together. So what we need to do is look down here, and it's tricky with this because this is an end cap, so you're going through one side of the end cap and then the blue on the other side. Okay, we're going to grab 2 blue bands, pop them on your hook and drag through. Keep hold, you're not actually reclaiming yet. What you're going to do next, if you can get your fingers to work properly, is go through the next 2 inside bands on either side. So make sure you go through the 2, and now pop those bands back on your hook like that. Now you grab your next 2, pop them on your hook, and oops, come back here, you drag them through. Now I've got a particularly, there we go, deep hook, so it gets things caught. You're going through the next 2 on one side and 2 on the other. You're not going for these outer sides, okay? Place your bands on your hook and again you are dragging them through like that. We're going to do this, oops, come back here, you. I'm going to change hooks, this one's just a bit grabby. Let me change. Changing of the guard. So there's my 2 sides. So I'm going through these 2 and these 2. Reclaim the end. Okay, grab my next 2 bands and pull them through. Oh, that's better. Alright, there's my next 2. The 2 inside here and 2 inside here. Reclaim the end of my bands. Take my next 2 and drag through. Let's do the next 2. 1, 2. And we're going to do this all the way to the top of our Tardis. Where's my second one? There it is. Tricky. Now, did I catch more? No, I didn't. First sign of madness is talking to yourself, and the confirmation is when you answer yourself. Grab 2. Oopsie, that didn't work nice. Let's grab 2 and pull through. These 2 on the inside, here and here. Reclaim the end and go as slow as you need to. Pull through. Now I only pulled through and got 1 then, I could feel that. So let's try that again. There we are. So go through this side, and it is fiddly. I mean, I won't lie to you, this is a fiddly. This is why I swore I would never do this tutorial. Up here and here. Hope you're still with me. Oh, I only got 1 band on that, so I'm going back to get both of them. There we are. These 2. And then I think we're on our last 2, these 2 here and these two here. I'm going to put those on. Now I'm going to use these tie-off bands, keep them taut, and I'm going to drag those through like that. Okay, pop them on and tie off. Now these are kind of jelly bands, so they're a bit difficult to tie off with. If in fear that they might come undone, put a little clip on them of some sort, okay, whether it's a C clip, an S clip. I have these little clips here that I've been using as well, so just pop it on here just so that it doesn't go walkabout. So that's our first two sides done. Now from the front door, again, remember, keep the tie off on the right. So these are on the right. I'm going to put those together, approximate them together, and again we've got an end cap to go through here, but that's okay. Through the end cap and through the bottom too. Are we in focus again? Let's hope so. Get two blue bands, drag them through. Now we're going for, and it, as you have more on here, it does get trickier. So I'm warning you, this is not easy. Those two. Let's go for number 3. Hey, come here. I'm going to pop this on here while I sort my little Tardis out. Get there. Alright, number 3 is here and here, and then reclaim. Trying to do this so you can see, but it's very difficult to loom with limited space, and when I've got you zoomed in so you can see, it's so easy for my hands to get out of camera. So these two, oh, let's make sure I've got the right two. If in doubt, approximate them up again. So I was going to be going for the same two that I'd already done. That would have been redundant. So I'm going for these two here and these two here. I think I'm going to move the camera back out so that I've got more space to be able to do this, but also I'm not going to go out of camera range for you as often. Okay, so the next two are here and here, and reclaim. Drag through here and here, reclaim. Are you cursing me for having asked to do this now? And here, and reclaim. The stitching up, as I said, is the hardest bit, but you do get used to it after a while, especially if you're the one doing it and you can see what you're doing. Pull through, 2 and 2. Flicking these over at my computer. Hey, that's only one. So I want 2. Thank you. And this is our last one for here. Grab the tie-off bands and we're going to pull, keep them taut, pull those through. No, I only got one. I want both. Let's go back and sort that out again. There we go. Grab those. Pull through. That's better. Put that one back on. And do a slip knot like so. Again, attach them onto your clip if you need to. So now we've got 3 sides. Okay, we have one more to do. Well, one more to add and then one more to actually connect, so 2 more to connect. As you can see, the band situation, let me show you how many bands I've gone through. That was full with a whole new packet. So as I said, I haven't counted exactly, but it is an entire packet. With only a few left over. Fiddle factor. Okay. Approximate the edges. I want these 2 here. So I'm going to take this off and go through here and here. And it is important to get them lined up properly, because otherwise it is going to look a bit odd. It'll look a bit skew if that's a technical term. Yes, I think you could do the sewing up with just a single band. But I do tend to like the insurance that having a double band gives me. If one breaks, I know that it's still held together. I don't have to panic that my entire creation is going to fall apart. But if you have limited bands, then do the sewing up with single bands. I would not make the creation with single bands. I think it would be very flimsy and quite see-through. So if you remember, you're getting the inside 2 here and the inside 2 here, and then reclaiming the end of your bands. The third one to hit my computer. Pyong! Nope, that's not good. Go back through. Let's try that again. If in doubt, take a step back. And now this is our last set here, these 2 and these 2, reclaim, and then we use our tie-off bands and pull through, reclaim, slip knot. I can't stretch that across, so I'm just going to use a little S-clip that I have lying around, like that, just so I don't lose it. Now we need to do these 2, and then you have your square. So again, the inside 2 and the inside 2. Double band on your hook, pull through. Approximate the edges. These 2 and these 2, and reclaim the end. Slippery little sucker. It does get more and more difficult to hold as it gets bigger. Stop that, Jen. Ah, I lost 2. Step back. If you find it easier, put the other end on another hook while you find where you're going. I suppose that's another option, isn't it? If you have another hook. Some of the bands you buy have those nasty little hooks in them, and I have used those as holding hooks before. Talking about nasty little bands, do be careful about using charms and things like that, because some of the ones that are not Rainbow Loom have some very nasties in them, cancer causing nasties. So, oops, I've gone, need to go back a step. Need to go back 2 steps, it's unravelling on me. Let's do this, come on. The nice thing is it is quite easy once you see it start to unravel. It is easy to fix. So we're here, we go through these 2 and these 2 and reclaim. These 2 and these 2. It's like knitting, isn't it? And reclaim. That was 3. I don't want 3, I want 2. And what have I done here? Step back. I think my own way of making it easier is making it harder for me. Okay, we're going through these 2 up here and 2 here. Reclaim the end, grab your tie-off bands. They're going to be what we use. Drag them through. Nope, I just got one then. Let's make sure we get both. Okay, so that's our little square Tardis. Now obviously it needs a bottom and a top. So we're going to build those. We're going to, again, you've got the 2 sides. We're going to go through the inside loops that we can see here. Can you see that there's 2 loops here? And there's 2 loops on this side as well. So what we're going to do is push your hook through 2 loops on the inside. Grab 2 bands, drag through and reclaim. And then you're going to take 2 bands and pull through. Oops, let's do that again. Pull through and reclaim. So we're going to just grab the 2 here on the top, and then slide our bands through and reclaim. Now where you have the tie-off bands, try and incorporate those, because then, if I can get it off its little hook, its little clip, then you don't have to worry about those unraveling. Okay, so I've just included that one there, and then I'm going to move across to here. I'm going to just find these 2 here, and you want to try and make it so you're not going to have these huge gaps, like there's a little gap there where I'll be able to see, can you see it there? I'd be able to see cotton wool through there. So I'm going to step back from that because I think that would be too much of a gap, and instead I'm going to go a bit closer and try and close that up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going into that corner and grabbing the end. I'm going to go up here. So try and make it so that there's not too many huge gaps. It is tricky. Let's again incorporate that tie-off band here. Pull through, reclaim, go for those 2. And if you have a look, you can see that it's starting to get smaller and smaller, the center area. Tie that off again. I'm going to use these tie-off bands. I want to incorporate those. So I think I have all 4 of the tie-off bands looped in, which is a good thing. Let's see if that's going to be too much of a gap. I think it is. I'm going to go back and close that in a bit. See if I can get, there we are, I'll try there. So it's trial and error really to see if you can. I've got too many bands on that one. Through. I just want those 2, and I'm catching a 3rd. Do you see how there's 3 on there instead of 2? Let's see if I can get rid of one. No, I'll go back in. There we go. That's just 2. And now as I'm going round, I'm going to be going on the inner circle side of things. So I've got there, and see now I'm coming in here again, I want to make sure that I capture and at this stage you're just going to sort of close things in, like I'm going from one side to the other. Because otherwise you'll end up with a very sort of bulbous top to it. So now I'm going from this side here. You can take your hook out, move the direction that you're going in. I'm going to come across to here and grab those. I'm going to tie it off with a single band because I think it will hold it better, because these are jellyish bands. So that's how I sealed the top. I'm going to put my hook through and grab that single band and drag it back inside the Tardis. There we go. Now we're going to do the same for the bottom, but it's a good idea to pack some of the cotton wool in before we go there. So let's do, and we don't have tie-off bands to worry about here. So I'm grabbing some cotton wool and I'm going to stuff that in here. And I know you can get the stuffing for toys at the craft store as well. That works great too. Well, it works better than cotton wool. Funny about that, it was designed for it, wasn't it? Alright, so I've got it stuffed. And now I'm going to push it down quite hard so I've got a bit of space to work with, because when we've got it sorted we can you know, squidge it down a bit and it'll be okay. And I'm going to do exactly the same as I did for the top here on the bottom. So I'm going to find a spot. I'm going to go maybe through here and through here and take a pair, drag it through and reclaim, and then go through these ones, drag it back and reclaim through these ones, drag it back, reclaim. I go through here. You can see I'm running out of bands. Now, do I think that's too much of a gap? I do, so I'm going to redo that one. Let's see, maybe go in the corner here. Grab a couple of bands from the corner, that's better. And this is like a plushie, so please don't think that, you know, it's going to be all sort of square or rectangle and, you know, formal sitting, you know. It's just kind of plushy doll, except it's not a doll, it's a Tardis. See how we're getting smaller and smaller in the middle there? Which is good, because I don't have many bands left. So here we go. One there. I'm going to come across to this side here. Hey. twist my hook around. I have one more band left, and that will be my tie off. See? Empty. So this is going to be my tie off band. Pull it tight. Now, to get that one hidden, you're going to stuff your hook through your creation and wiggle it out the top here, grab and pull back so that it's hidden inside your Tardis, because after all it's bigger on the inside. Squidge it into shape. Okay, and there you have a Tardis. I hope you enjoy making. I think I've probably stuffed mine a little bit too much. The other one's not stuffed as much. But there you go. Depending on how much stuffing you put in is how rounded it will be. But there you have it. That's how I made my little 3D Tardis. Take care. Bye bye.